Hello dear viewers, how are you? I hope you're fine. I'm Professor Muhammad Asif Iqbal with you and you're watching my channel IELTS Advanced and English with M. Asif. Well, in today's lesson I'm going to share with you my thoughts regarding IELTS Speaking Test Part 1. Okay, and during the course of this video you will also have a chance to watch a very nice example of IELTS, real IELTS test that deserves at least band 8, and you will also have a chance to think about it, to rewind the video and give your own analysis on that. Think about it, but as a teacher I will also present my analysis on that part, and after this video you will watch some other videos also on part 2 and part 3. The links to those will be found in the description. So let's proceed with the rest of the lesson ahead. Alright, so here we have our top class strategies and the tips on IELTS Speaking Part 1. Let's see what we have here. Okay, so the first point, the most important point is to remember is to keep your answers short and simple. Bear it in mind in IELTS Speaking Part 1. Okay, well, the duration you have between 4 to 5 minutes here, and about 10 questions related to you, your daily life and your interests will be asked from you. Alright, so spare the time for the examiner to proceed with the rest of the questions so that he's not left with less time and then cuts you short in the middle. Okay, so that will go to your disadvantage. Now the common topics, hobbies, family, friends, food, music, etc. can be asked from you. And the questions are supposed to be easy. Well, this is the easiest part in IELTS speaking. Alright? And about 30 seconds per question. So that should be your estimate. Not to spend more than 30 seconds on one question, okay? So keep the answers short and simple, keeping in mind all these points. You will be interrupted, by the way, for longer answers, because still the examiner wants to ask you more questions. So facilitate the examiner and facilitate yourselves as well. All right? Now, 6 simple rules to follow. Okay, what are these? 1, keep your answers short, as I said before, then stop with confidence, showing readiness for next question. All right, that will be an indicator to the examiner that you're ready for the next question. Number 2, try to avoid making mistakes. Well, throughout the test, that should be kept in mind, but particularly here. 3, answer the questions using full sentences. Well, it's speaking, okay? It is IELTS speaking. It's not street language, street speaking. So your grammar will be kept in mind, okay? 4, use words from the examiner's question in your answer. Okay, so that will give you a nice start and a confidence to proceed with your answer. 5, if possible, give a reason for your answer. Okay, it's not like just yes, no, full stop. No, not like this. Expand your answer. We will discuss this point later. 6th point, don't forget to say yes or no when necessary, but that's not the full stop. Okay, that's not everything, as I said. Well, now let's have a look at some examples, standard examples. For example, the question is, do you like parks? So what should be the answer? Yes, I like parks because they are great places to relax. If you live in a city, a park is often the only place where you can escape from the noise and the traffic. Well, you are not supposed to speak too speedily as I am. I'm trying to cover in the time, but at a reasonably medium pace you should speak to the examiner. Okay, now what is the expanded part of it? As I said before, you have to expand your answer, but up to a limit. See, this is part 1 of speaking. Keep your answers short and simple. Remember that rule. Okay. Well, this is the expanded part, as you see underlined here. Okay, you are coming up with the reason. As I said, you must give a reason also, and the reason in fact is reflects your expanded part. Okay. Now another example, do you prefer home cooked food or food from restaurants? Well, the answer is I prefer home cooked food. No full stop here. Okay, proceed with the rest of the answer. Expand your answer. Okay, this is the expanded part, as you can see here, because I think it's healthier and you know exactly what you're eating. I also enjoy cooking for family and friends. Well, fine. So this is these are nice examples for you. And now there's a question. There's a shift in my explanation here. Why do you think the taste of music changes from one generation to another? Okay, now you have to give the reason. Why suggests to you, you have to come up with the reason. Okay, now I will show you first the student's reply. Of course it will have some mistakes, grammatical mistakes and content related, but then then you will see the improved form of it. Okay, now this is student's sorry, response. Logically, people from different generations in fact will have taste variation depending upon the maturity, music stars of their own age, impact of globalization, as well as technological development in music industry will divide younger and older generation. Now what's the problem here? The problem is, well, it's expanded answer, reasonably expanded, but the problem is it has difficult vocabulary. Okay, and the sentence structure is complex, which is not recommended in part 1. Okay, now what's that? Look here. Well, this is the expanded part, fine, but then look at these words. They are difficult words. Okay, not suggested. All right, so that's a problem here. And the simplified, the recommended answer could be, of course, people from different generations have different tastes in music. Popular music changes all the time, and most of us are influenced by whatever style of music is popular when we are growing up. Well, this is also an expanded answer, but the good thing is it has easy vocabulary and simple structure. Like you can see, we have a compound sentence instead of having a complex sentence, and we have joined it with the help of and. You can see that. And very to the point answer. We have not complicated the answer. All right. Well, now is the time to listen to a real IELTS test of part 1 that ranges between 8, okay, I will give it 8, but between 8 to 9 band. Okay, and then you will have a chance to re-listen to it. You can rewind it always and think about it, and at the end of this test, of course, I will give you my expert analysis on it. All right, so let's listen to the watch the video and listen to the real test.
Let's get started. This is the speaking test of the International English Language Testing System, taking place on Saturday the 11th of March at Beacon Centre, centre number BN367. The candidate is Sabrine Valancheri and the candidate number is 0003400. The examiner is Carol Kennedy and the examiner number is 433816. Good afternoon. What is your full name, please?
My full name is Sabrine Valancheri.
And what should I call you?
You can call me Saba.
May I see your identification, please, Saba?
Yes, here it is.
Okay. Thank you. Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about where you live. Where do you live in your country?
I live in Hyderabad, which is the capital of Andhra Pradesh, in the southeast of India. It is a very big city. About 7 million people live there.
And is it an interesting place to live?
Oh yes, a very interesting place to live. Hyderabad has a very long history. So there are lots of ancient forts, mosques, and other monuments. There is a very beautiful lake, and there are also lots of wonderful markets.
And will you live in Hyderabad in the future?
Yes, I think once I finish my studies here, I'll go back to Hyderabad. My husband is from Hyderabad too, so I think we'll stay there.
Now let's talk about hobbies and interests. What hobbies and interests are popular in your country?
People have many different pastimes in my country. I think the most popular these days are things like gardening and do-it-yourself, which is when people, well, usually men, make things for their home. I think women tend not to have too many hobbies. You can't really call shopping a hobby. I think in the past, women used to fill up the leisure time that they had with craft activities, but sewing and knitting aren't so common these days. I think reading is still very popular, especially now these days with the new e-readers.
And which hobbies and interests do you enjoy?
Well, like a lot of people, my work takes up a lot of my time. And at the weekend, I like to meet up with my friends or go out with my husband. So I don't really have much time for hobbies. But I do read a lot, especially history and biography. Also, I love collecting art. So I go to a lot of art fairs. I really like colourful, abstract art, which really brighten up our homes.
And what hobbies and interests did you have as a child?
Gosh, that was a long time ago. Let me think. I used to collect key rings. I think I had about 20 or 25. They were silly things really, but fun for a small child. I used to like painting and drawing. My parents were very supportive and they bought me a lot of oil paints, but I'm not really very talented. I also played the clarinet. I was in a junior orchestra. I remember once we played a concert and my reed broke during the first piece, and so I couldn't make any sound.
And do you think parents should encourage their children to have a hobby or interest?
Oh yes, very much so. I think it is very important for children to have something other than school, television and computers. Sometimes a hobby can turn into a very successful career, but even if it doesn't, it can help the child develop as a person as they learn about new things and meet new people who share the same hobby.
Now let's move on to talk about the weather. Do you prefer hot weather or cold?
I think I prefer cold weather. I know most people prefer hot weather, but it is always so hot in my country that it is such a nice change to feel the cold. Of course, in the cold, it's very easy to put on a hat and gloves to keep ourselves warm.
Tell me about the weather in your country at different times of year.
India is so big that there are many different climates. So I'll just talk about the weather in Hyderabad. Generally, we have a tropical wet and dry climate. That means that the summers, March to June, are hot, over 30 degrees and very humid. Sometimes it can reach over 40, which is just unbearable. At the end of the summer, the monsoon comes and it rains for about 3 months. After the rainy season, it's winter, which is quite short, just a couple of months.
Which time of year did you enjoy most as a child?
Well, I think like most children, I would say the summer, when we had the long school holiday. But I always preferred spring. There's something so lovely about when everything starts to grow again after the winter. You can almost smell it in the air.
And has the weather changed much in your country in recent years?
I don't think so really. I know that in some countries the climate has been changing because of global warming, but where I live it seems to be the same. Just heat and rain. I have noticed something. In recent summers when it's very hot, there have been many water shortages. I don't remember that happening when I was younger.
Thank you.
Well, you watched the video and listened to the test. Fine. How did you find it? Was it nice? Was it of the standard required? Okay, so you can always rewind it and think about it again. Coming to this part one, in the criteria of testing criteria of IELTS, I have taken taken it exactly from their website. The task focus in this part of the test focuses on the ability to communicate opinions and information on everyday topics and common experiences or situations by answering a range of questions. All right, this is the task focus. Now, what should be your priority as a test taker? Well, that should be fluency. Okay, not difficult grammar or vocabulary here, because you will speak more fluently. Why you need fluency? Because if you are fluent, you keep your part one answers simple. Okay, that's the advantage here. All right. Now let's come to the merits and demerits of what you have watched and listened to. So this is all on based on IELTS speaking test assessment criteria. Okay, green are merits and red underlined red are demerits. Okay, so you can follow the color. Okay, so first of all, she was fluent. Okay, as required, particularly in this part and throughout IELTS, but particularly here. Throughout the speech, with no show of repetition or self-correction, like she makes mistakes and sorry, I wanted to say not like this. Okay, except for short but natural pauses for ideas which she took. Okay, so that was a plus point. And then so this is plus point, as you can see here. And secondly, coherence and cohesion. Okay, that is the flow of ideas. She expressed coherence throughout. Okay, however, she hardly utilizes cohesive expressions. Okay, that was something missing here. For example, what I mean is, in my opinion, something these are the connectors, okay, which give a flow, a fluency to our speech. But still, she was fluent. But these were technically missing here. All right. So this is demerit. Okay, so keep following color scheme here. And then third is the vocabulary range, the lexical range, what is also known. Okay, so she utilizes simple vocabulary as required. As I said before, keep it simple. Okay. And the fourth is pronunciation. Okay, she expresses a good use of stress and intonation. Okay, rises and falls of it, creating a constant flow of rhythm in speech. Okay, so that is very pleasing to the ears of the listener. Okay, and easy to follow it. So reasonably accurate pronunciation was sustained in production of individual words also. So that was also a plus point. Not only the whole speech, but also her pronunciation was reasonably very nice. Okay, fine. And then something more, that is grammatical range and accuracy. So how was that? As I said, grammar is checked. It is not street language. Well, grammatical structures are accurate throughout the speech. She didn't make mistakes. Okay, however, she hardly uses, sorry, this is I made a mistake here. This is the demerit, although in green here. I apologize for that. She hardly uses a wide range of varied structures and sentence types. So that was the demerit here. Okay, there were same type of structures in her language. Okay, now coming to skills assessment. Above all, she clearly expresses the ability to speak at length. Well, that's what I liked. She could expand her answer, okay, to a reasonable limit, and still she remains organized and coherent in speech. Well, that is something excellent on her part. Okay, and then she was fantastic at justifying her opinion quite critically with clear and detailed analysis of it. Okay, it was not just prolonging the opinion. Okay, but also she was very critical and analytical in view. Fine. And my acknowledgement to the video source that I have taken. You can always check it. All right. Well, that was everything about part 1, IELTS Speaking Part 1, and I do hope you have learned a lot. You have learned a lot from this video and the lesson that I have presented in front of you. For part 2 and part 3, you can follow the links in the description below, and my way of presenting the lesson will be the same. I will not only explain through PowerPoints but also discuss with you a sample video of part 2 and part 3, and will also present my analysis regarding the same. And you can also always rewind the video to think yourself and to come up with your own thoughts, own critical thoughts regarding the same. Okay, so please remain in touch with my channel, subscribe as much as possible, and share with your friends and social circle, like it, and please give maximum watch time to my videos. Your encouragement is a great source of motivation to me. Thank you very much. See you in my next videos.